Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for spending your lovely Bank Holiday Monday evening with us today. I'm joined online with a friend of mine and also business partner, Neil Ward. By the way, for those that don't know, my name's Arsh Ellahi, and tonight we're going to be talking about something which is quite extraordinary, actually. We're going to be talking about how Neil's managed to make just under £11,500 per calendar month net just by using the extraordinary rent-to-rent strategy and how he's done it all within 10 months. Neil, are you online?
Yeah, I'm here, Ash.
Okay, brilliant. Right, first thing first, mate, let's kick this off in the right way. In the far right-hand side of your screen, hopefully you should see a grey panel allowing you to ask questions so that both me and Neil can answer them as and when they come up. If you can, in the far right-hand side, if you can just type a quick yes or no just to confirm that you can hear us correctly and clearly. Okay, so a few people saying, yeah, okay, fine. Everyone's saying, yeah, they're on board. Fantastic. Okay, what we're going to be doing tonight, we're going to be going at quite a pace because we've had a look through all the slides and we've got a hell of a lot of content to get through. More importantly, Neil's got to show us exactly how he's got to £11,500 cash flow per calendar month. So I'm not going to talk about too much about me because you don't need to know about me, but I run a group of 12 companies with my brother Aki Ellahi. Together we're landlords and letting agents. Been letting properties since '73. Now we've got well in excess of 500 tenants. I think when I did these slides, this was a long, long time ago. So we're touching closer to 1,000 tenant mark now. We've still got a very high 100% rent collection record and a very high 98% occupancy rate. The difference with what I do is that I solely rent to people on benefits, and I think that's a financially sound model, whereas Neil will only deal with workers. So he'll talk to you about that a little later on. Shameless plug, but I do run workshops. I run workshops on how to maximise your return from LHA tenancies, how to set up HMOs correctly, and I run a lead generation company as well as I can assist with raising finance. Finally, I was very privileged in 2013 to be asked to write for a magazine called YPN Magazine. If you can, in the right hand side, just let me know whether you subscribe to it or not. Every month I write a new article about different things that's happening in the property world. So for argument's sake, for June's edition, I actually spoke about the election and how I thought that would affect the property market. I also talked about interest rates. So there's some real good pieces in there. More importantly, it's a magazine wrote about property investors by property investors. So if you're not a subscriber to it, what I'd suggest, for the sake of £6.95 a month, you go to yourpropertynetwork.co.uk and you get yourself subscribed. There's no commitment, there's no monthly commitment. You just subscribe as and when you want. You cancel as and when you want, should I say. Okay, brilliant. Moving forward. First of all, let's get this started. Neil, last week, took the plunge. He went and got himself married, and I think he's currently still in California, and he got married. Was it last Thursday, Neil? Oh, sorry, last Sunday.
Yeah, a week yesterday, actually.
Wow. Okay, so someone's already put congratulations, Neil. You're a brave man. But how,
Thank-
you know, hopefully you've had a good week, a great day, and hopefully many more happy memories to come.
thank you, Ash.
Okay, so moving on then. So I'm gonna shut up now for a short while, and I'm gonna pass you over to Neil, and Neil's gonna tell you a little bit about who he is, what he's done, and more importantly, how we can get you moving forward on this rent-to-rent strategy. So over to you, mate.
Oh, thanks, Ash. Good evening, everybody. It's actually lunchtime here in California. I'm at Disneyland today, funny enough. So I've just popped out for an hour to jump on the Wi-Fi. So it's nice and quiet here, so it should stay that way, hopefully. So I started in property in 2005. So I've been a landlord for over 10 years now, because I think it was the 1st or 2nd of May 2005 I bought my first house. So yeah, so well over 10 years now. And I've still got a portfolio of houses and flats in Coventry. They're just simple single lets. Most of the people have been in them for years and years now. And in that time as well, in the last 10 years, I joined the army straight from school. So I did that for a very long time. Whilst I was in the army, I always had itchy feet, and I was always doing different things and building little businesses. So that's how it started, really, building small businesses. They were mostly failures, but you've got to go through those failures really to learn in life. So I've been an entrepreneur for over a decade as well now. I've got a lot of businesses. I'm not even sure how many businesses, a dozen or so that I own now, and I invest in a lot of other people's businesses as well. The other things I do, consultancy work, mainly in marketing and business. And the thing I'm most well known for, especially in the USA, is being a sales trainer. So I run sales training events over in the USA, West Coast, like here in California, in Vegas, and places like that. The other thing, I've just handed over entrepreneur in residence for Coventry University, and I live in both Coventry, which is in the West Midlands, and out here in California with my wife, who Kristin's a model and an actress out here. So I'm very, very fortunate and lucky. Next slide, Ash. So in terms of property and rent to rent then, I mainly focus on rent to rent. That is my main strategy. I do some deal sourcing as well, but the main thing that I make my money from is rent to rent. And I think I became most well known for it by creating £5,000 net per month within my first few months of starting out, which at the time was unheard of. But now we've had 5, it might be 6 students now that have well surpassed me and have done well over 5,000 within their first 3 or 4 months. So even though I was well known for that, a lot of my students now, my Arsh students, have easily surpassed that. And in terms of target this year, I should be on about 18,000 by 2016. And that's just from rent to rent alone. And it really is a fantastic strategy once you understand how to do it. See, a lot of people, they talk about rent to rent and wanting to do it, and they say, oh, you don't need to do any training, you don't need this, you don't need management agreements. No, but actually you do. You do need to know and understand how to do it properly. Otherwise you end up like most people who never get a single house. They go for years and don't get a single house, or they get a house and then they end up in legal trouble and they get sued. So I'll just put that out there straight away. And then the last thing that I do with Arsh is, as a professional speaker, and I speak all around the world now and do training events and help people to build training events. I run four training days with Arsh, which is the rent to rent day, sales and negotiations purely for landlords, deal sourcing, and how to set up a systemized property business effectively, because that's the key here. That, I couldn't spend all this time out here on the other side of the world if I didn't have a systemized business. It's all systemized. It actually saves me money systemizing it than me being there and doing it myself as well. So we'll talk about that if we have some time a bit later, and I'll show you how we do all that. Next slide, Arsh.
So one thing that we do and we find really interesting is that we like to know who exactly we've got online. So one thing we ask everyone to do is, if you can, on the right-hand side where you've told us where you can hear us or not, tell us the reason why you're here. Why do you want to get involved in property? Why do you want to do the rent-to-rent strategy? And let's see the reasons, because a lot of the people, we've listed a few of the reasons there. Some of them talk about health issues, some of them talk about family, some of them talk about cash flow, some of them talk about finance issues. But the last one was really interesting because one lady says that she wants to quit her job and spend time with her family. So it became very family orientated. Whereas today, looking at some of the responses, we've got financial freedom, be financially free, create money to give back to the world, charity. So again, we're going back to being financially free. That's the biggest one. Everyone's talking about financial freedom, target to generate passive income, stable retirement. Okay, so curious, would like to earn an additional £1,000 a month, like to work hard, like to work hard like I do now. Okay, be your own boss. Right, so we've got some real varied answers.
Mm,
But
yeah,
the one thing that comes out is the one thing that comes out of it is that everyone wants to be their own boss or get financially free. Okay, so Neil, do you want to take this one?
yeah. I'm going to follow on from the first two comments that came out that you read out there, Ash, which was around contribution. You know, give back to the world, help charity and things. Up until a couple of years ago, I'd say I was fairly financially successful, but in my sort of mind, I was chasing the wrong thing. Looking back, I was chasing the nice holidays and cars and houses and all that. And then it dawned on me one day that really what I was doing was I was going at it the wrong way. And a person that was mentoring me back then said, "You'll never really become successful unless you contribute and really want to help other people." And I thought to myself, well, I do that. That is what I'm about. But it was only afterwards I realized really I wasn't doing it fully. And that's when I created my new commitment. And my life has changed so much since I've done this. And you know, speak to any of the students as well, and they'll tell you they call me at random times. Um, we do Skype sessions and all this, and I don't charge for all this extra time. I do it because that's my commitment to other people. I want to help people to help themselves to get financially free, escape jobs they hate, help people to add more money that for their children. They want to, single mothers, single fathers. There's so many people that I meet on a day-to-day basis now, and that is really what inspires me. And it's enabled me to create all these courses in such a fast time, make them so good and so powerful. I mean, the average review now is 5 out of 5 stars. That is unheard of before. I never used to get that on trainings that I'd run. It was normally sort of 4 stars. And I think that is the difference that's made, is this commitment that I've got now over the last couple of years. And really it's just to create happiness in other people through education. And it is by generating money. Now, it's not money for money's sake. It's what the money leads to. So if you haven't got money, it's often difficult to have more time, closer families, travel the world, even things like you wouldn't think of, like better health and stronger relationships. Because if you haven't got the money, then you're usually out earning the money, right? So if you're out earning the money, you're not at home with the family. You can't spend that time building those relationships to be even stronger. And things like health as well. Some people work a 9 to 5, they commute a couple of hours each way. Where's their time in the day to do the things like working out or exercise or taking a walk or creating super healthy meals or smoothies or juicing or whatever you want to do? It makes it a lot more difficult. So that is really my commitment now. I want to help as many people to get the lifestyle that we've started creating in others, where they've been able to become financially free and do all these things, have these stronger families and better health and things, because they can work from home or just work a couple of hours a week. My rent-to-rent business takes me, I'd say, 2 hours a week at the most now. I don't really have to do a lot because it's all systemized and the marketing does the rest. So, but we'll talk about that. If we go on to the next slide, we'll talk about this more.
Okay. Right, okay. So just so that we don't leave anyone behind, can we just kind of figure out what kind of level of investor you are or what your experience is with rent to rent? If you can, again, in the right-hand side, just type whether you're either beginner, whether you're experienced, whether you've got no knowledge whatsoever. It doesn't matter. It just gives us an indication as to where you are. Okay, so whilst you're doing that, I'm going to quickly go through and tell you the basics of what rent to rent is. So there's going to be 3 parties involved. There's going to be a landlord who owns a property. There's going to be you in the centre who's going to be acting almost like the managing agent, where you're looking to do the rent to rent deal. And then hopefully there's going to be tenants who want to live in the property that you're offering them. So just quickly going through. Okay, most people on the course, most people on the webinar tonight are complete beginners, or some people have got a couple of HMOs but no knowledge. Okay, interesting. So a lot of beginners, a couple of guys in there that have got some HMOs and just starting out. Okay, so in simple terms, a rent-to-rent strategy is where you approach your landlord with your proposition, providing that they accept, you do some work to enable the property to be multi-let. Finally, hopefully you rent the property out by room basis for a lot more than you pay the landlord, and that should make your profit equals per calendar month. Now, the reason why I like this is because if you've got a standard single let, and let's just say for the purpose of this webinar, that you're renting it out for $8.50 a month. Now, if that house were to become vacant, you've now got to avoid a property that is completely empty, regardless of how you look at it. You've still got bills to pay, so you may have to pay council tax. You may have to pay, well, you will have to pay the mortgage, so that's still costing you every month. Now, let's just imagine that this property is a 4-bedroom and 2 reception room property. So you've got 4 bedrooms on the top, you've got living room, dining room, kitchen and bathroom. Now, if you were to multi-let it, and you to charge and rent out each room like Neil does for £400 a month, you could rent out the 4 top bedrooms, but more importantly, you don't need to have 2 living rooms or 2 reception rooms for a multi-let. You could still keep the communal lounge, or which in this instance is the dining room, then have a shared kitchen and shared bathroom. So you could have 5 lettable rooms where each month are generating £400 per calendar month, which calculates as £2,000 a month. Now, for this example, let's just imagine that the rent that you've agreed with the landlord is $8.50 a month, and work on the assumption that the bills, which include the council tax, water rates, electricity and gas, and potentially broadband, come to $3.50 a month. Gives you a net profit per calendar month of £800. This also works on the assumption that you're managing the property yourself. Now, the reason why people really like the strategy is that regardless of what kind of investor you are, whether you're a cash-rich investor, no one has got a bottomless pit of cash. Even if you've got $500,000 in the bank, that could very easily get spent. And when we talk about spending it, we're talking about deposits, we're talking about valuation fees, we're talking about solicitors' fees. With the rent-to-rent strategy, you don't need any of that. No mortgage is required because you're not looking to buy the property. All you're doing is looking to manage the property on behalf of the landlord. No solicitors are required or mortgage surveyors because, again, you're not buying it. No deposit is required, again, because you're not buying it. And very little capital is actually required to get going, which means that you can turn up to a property tomorrow, meet the landlord, and actually take the keys off him there and then, providing that your proposition or what you're offering is mutually beneficial to both parties. And it's a lot easier to generate cash flow from properties and very easy to grow into a business. Now, where else would you say that you could grow a business to generate just under £11,500 a month within 10 months? If you were to try and do that on a buy-to-let portfolio, first of all, you'd need a hell of a lot of cash to buy all the properties. Then you need a lot of money to convert the properties. So it's a great strategy. That's why so many people really like this strategy. Finally, this is probably one of the only strategies where you're in control of the negotiation in respect of you determine the terms of the agreements. Now, if you've got a buy-to-let portfolio and you're looking to buy the property off the estate agents, you can't determine the terms of that negotiation. The property is on, let's say, £100,000. Now, if the vendor is insistent that they want £100,000, there's not a great deal that you're going to be able to do to try and get them to renegotiate. Whereas with the rent-to-rent, if you actually, well, one of the things that me and Neil teach you is calculate exactly what the property is worth to you. And if you put it forward in a format where the landlord understands it, you can actually determine the terms of the agreement. Right, one thing that Neil doesn't, I've just quickly slotted this in, and the one thing that I'm going to say to you very early on is that if you don't know how to get a rent-to-rent deal, here's your opportunity. I was given this opportunity only yesterday. I've got a 9-bed HMO in Birmingham, which is already set up, so you don't need to do a thing to it. It's partially furnished and it's ready to go. The landlord wants £1,600 a month. Originally, he was just over 2,200. I've brought him down to £1,600 a month. Where it's in Birmingham, it's on a road called Allen Rock Road, which is postcode B8. And if you were to rent, well, when you rent the rooms out, the rooms would fetch between 300 and 350 per calendar month, inclusive of all the bills. So that includes council tax, water rates, electricity, and gas. Now, that in theory should work on the basis of net rent collection, providing it's fully occupied, of £3,150 per month, minus the £1,600 that you're going to have to pay the landlord. I've put a very high cost of utilities in there, so potentially you could shave some money off that as well, which means that you should make a cash flow of £950 a month, working on the assumption that you're going to fully manage it yourself. And if you like the sound of that, there is a small sourcing fee of £5,000 to secure the contract. And if you like the sound of that, all you have to do is send me a message on my mobile, and what I can do is either arrange to give you a quick call or send you the photos, etc., etc., etc. So not only do we do a webinar deal, but I've actually found you a rent-to-rent strategy in Birmingham, should you want it. So far, Neil, what other webinar do you know, have you ever been on a rent-to-rent strategy where they've actually given you a deal straight away as well, Neil?
I've never been on one.
So, okay, brilliant. Let's keep moving forward. Neil, I'm going to pass this over to you. Neil's now going to talk to you about the properties that he's acquired, how much they're making, and he's going to show you how he's got to that £11,500 per month. So over to you, Neil.
Okay. So here we go. This is what everybody's been asking for over the last sort of 6 or 7 months. People are saying, I want to know exactly how you did it personally. I want to know what houses you bought, what houses you took on and managed, and exactly how you did it. So Arsh asked me, and I said, yeah, go on, let's just put it together. I'll show you exactly each house step by step on how I did it. Okay, so we're going to whiz through it because there's loads of houses here. We're not going to go through all 18 of them, but we're going to go through quite a lot of them. So sit tight, make sure you got your drink or whatever, don't go to the bathroom or you'll miss it. So here's the first house I got, and this was the 1st of May last year. So again, I've only been doing this just over a year now, and this is how fast I've built it up. The profit per calendar month, £570. The refurb on it was £1,600, so I broke even on it on the 1st of August. Arsh, do you want to just move that mouse off? It's going across the screen. Yeah. So the total net cash flow on this is £570, which isn't a huge cash flow in property per month. It's probably one of the lowest I've got, but there it is. It's still a good house. Now this cost me £200 to acquire this because I use one of my trade contacts. It's a strategy I use, which I can tell you about later if we have time, where I just get deals brought to me all day long. All day deals come to me. Because you'll hear most people that do rent-to-rent say, or trainers say, letting agents, go to letting agents. And there's a reason why so many people come on our trainings, because I actually teach the opposite of that. People that do that strategy and go to letting agents all day long, it's very rare they ever get many deals at all. Very few people ever make it. So we show you how to do direct to vendor. So that's the first house. £570 net cash flow, and it cost me £200 to acquire it. Next slide, Ash. So this was the second house. So it's just around the corner on Broomfield Road. Again, these are all in Coventry, and I got this 1 month later on the 1st of June. So the profit on this one per calendar month, £680, and the refurbishment was £1,300. So again, break-even point less than the 1st of August. So the net cash flow then went up to £1,250. Didn't cost me a penny to acquire this because it was through a referral of the first house. So it's that easy. Yeah, next slide, Ash, number 3. So this is house number 3, again, Broomfield Road, and again, a referral. Didn't cost me a penny to get this. Because what you'll find is once you start doing rent-to-rent, and the key is to do a really good job, and I mean a fantastic job. What will happen is a landlord will be so impressed because it's unlike anything they've ever seen before. that they will tell other people about it, other landlords, other family members, and that's what's happened to me. You know, if you think about the typical agent, what do? They go in, they rent the house, they don't really care for it that much. They definitely don't clean it and do maintenance on it every week or so. You know, they don't refurbish it for them and add value to the property. They don't really do a lot. What happens is the property depreciates in value, whereas with us, it increases, it appreciates in value. So this one was a couple of weeks later on the 15th of June. The profit per calendar month is very nice on this one, 650. Now, it was a huge refurbishment cost, but the landlord actually split that with me in the end. But I've not accounted for that on this slide. I've put the break even as the 1st of November. So just pretend the landlord didn't contribute, because sometimes it might not happen. But that was a huge refurbishment. But because it was such a nice cash flowing property, and it was a 4-year, I think, on this one, 4-year agreement, it was a no-brainer in terms of the cost to make that sort of money from it. So that was it, £650 per calendar month. Every month that makes that profit, and that was by the 15th of June. So that took the net cash flow per month up to £1,900. So bear in mind, we're only 6 weeks in now, and we're already up to £1,900. Again, it didn't cost a penny to acquire this. Next house, Arsh. So this, again, also on Broomfield Road. So a lot of them, what I was doing was I was targeting a certain area in Earlsdon, Coventry. So that's what I was doing. I didn't want to, I could have easily targeted the whole city, but I only really wanted to get properties within a few streets, because I didn't want to be going from one side of the city to the other side, and, you know, dressing rooms here and doing repairs there. So nearly all of these properties now are within either 2 minutes walk from each other, or they might be a 5-minute drive, because I've diversified a little bit between student properties, professionals, and workers now. So we have spread out a bit, but each group of houses is in each area, and that's the important thing. It's about knowing which area to target in your city or town for which tenant group for profitability. So this was the 4th property, and this was the 23rd of June that this was acquired. Very nice profit on it, £750 per month, because it's got a huge loft room, which demands a premium in this area because the rooms are very small. The refurbishment was £1,900 on that. Again, the landlord did contribute a little bit for the carpets. So the break even, I've put worst case scenario in all of these, 7th of September on this one. The total net cash flow, we're now up to 2,650 by the 23rd of June. And this was £5 to acquire this. What I did was I wrote a letter to this landlord over the land registry. Again, if you're not familiar with that strategy, I can explain that later on if we have time. But that's it. I just wrote a letter to the landlord. He gave me a call. We spoke. We met up, and we did the deal. So that was this property. And this one, I didn't really do a lot of work to it. All that furniture you can see there, that was all the landlords. We've upgraded a little bit of it now, but there it is. But now the next house is the same landlord. So watch for the picture as Arsh moves the slide. You see that? Arsh, go back a slide and then go forward again. Yeah, that looks like the same house. It's not. It's Kensington Road, but the furniture is identical because it's the same landlord. What you'll find is that landlords will buy the same furnitures, and they'll do their properties all at the same time. They'll upgrade them all at the same time. So what you've got in this area is all the houses are identical downstairs, absolutely, and upstairs actually. The layout of all the houses is identical, and that's what I like about it, because I know exactly what I'm going in for when a new house comes up for rent. So this one was the 1st of July. So a lot of these were ex-student houses actually. So we're coming into student time now, which is how I ramped it up so much. And the profit on this isn't huge, £600 a month, but still very nice, because these are all 4-bed houses, bear in mind. So you don't really have any management issues with 4 beds. People live together. It's very similar to a single let, just a little bit more work. You know, people live together, they cook together, there's a cleaner, so they don't need to worry about it. It's very, very low maintenance. Someone might break a bed or a drawer every few months or something, but other than that, nothing really comes up on it. Again, a low refurb cost, £1,200 on this one. So it's a 2-month break-even point. So now we're up to 3,200 cash flow within the space of, what was that, May, June, July, so a couple of months still. And this was zero. It didn't cost a penny to acquire this property. It was zero. It was through that same landlord, so the same letter had worked. So next slide. So this was again house number 6, Coniston Road, just round the corner, and again 1st of July, because it was another student property. Now what I've done, I've improved this, so the look of that house there is slightly different. Before there was a fridge where the table was, and there was other studenty type stuff. So it was a bit more to refurb this, but it is such a beautiful house. It was worth it because it wasn't much of a break even on it. So it's worth it. 585. This is a long-term contract. These landlords are in it for the long term. I mean, they're talking about 10 years they don't want the house back for. So imagine that, every month making almost £600 profit for 10 years. You don't have to do anything on it. The tenants are still the original tenants from that house from 1st of July last year. Like I said, you keep the houses fairly small and you put professionals in there, you don't really have any issues. People don't tend to move very often. It's just, this is the strategy I adopt because I love this strategy. So at this point then we were almost up to £4,000, and again didn't cost a penny because it was a direct strategy to acquire this. And the reason I keep talking about direct strategies is because you hear a lot of times people talking about letting agents, and I think I'm probably on my own in saying don't use letting agents, because every other person that teaches rent to rent, things like that, they all teach you to go to letting agents. And it's just my personal opinion, okay? It doesn't mean anything, but I just don't feel that it works very well. And I found that with all the students as well. There's a reason that people have already been on other courses and then come on our course and say, look, we tried the letting agent, it just didn't work. It doesn't work for most people. So this direct strategies, look, one house all day long. They just keep coming in because it is direct to vendor. There's no letting agents in the middle where you have to pay them huge commissions. That's if you can even get through the gatekeepers and broker a deal and then speak to the manager and speak to the director and then put your legal contracts through their solicitors, and just so much nonsense to go through. So there's no commissions to the agent, and then the agent's taking their 10% or whatever, and then they're, I'd rather keep that 10% that the landlord's got to pay the agent. I'd rather just negotiate the rent down with the landlord direct. But again, that's just my opinion on how I do it. Take it with a pinch of salt. You've got to look at it for yourselves. What feels right for you. So if we go on to the next slide, Arsh. Okay, so what I'm going to do here then, because we haven't got time to go through every single house in detail. So we'll talk about houses 1 to 18. So if you look on the right-hand side there, that says May to July 2014, and it shows the profit per calendar month. So these were the averages. So you can see I was making 570 to 750 on average. And then the next line down, these were the refurbishment costs, 1,200 to 3,000. And then the break-even points were 2 months to 4.5 months. Okay. And then the total net cash flow was almost £4,000 for that period. But bear in mind, I had to spend a fair bit on the refurbishments for that period. Now, if you look to the left-hand box, July 14 to May 15, so in that period, it was more than double, basically, the profit, the cash flow. But look what's interesting here. Once I realized how to refine my strategy properly, because bear in mind, I didn't have a mentor to teach me rent to rent. There wasn't really anyone out there that was really doing it in a big way. There's maybe 1 or 2 people, but they don't want to share their knowledge with the likes of you or I. If they're making serious money, they want to keep that to themselves. So a lot of this I just had to figure out for myself. And that's what I did. I got my profit up from an average of 570 to 750 to 650 to 920. Now, the reason that's so unusual, if you look at the refurb costs, a lot of these houses were zero. I didn't need to spend any money refurbishing them because I knew how to find the right houses then. So the most I spend now is about 1,700 on a refurb, and that's generating me at 920 profit. Okay, so you can see the sort of money now. The maximum is less than 2 months break-even point is what I'm at now. So when you hear people saying, oh, 9-month break even, or this rent to rent I've got is a year break even, don't take the advice of those people, because they don't really know what they're doing. If you've got to wait a year to break even on a property, that's insane. I mean, I don't want to be rude to anyone, but that's ridiculous. It's just dead money for a whole year, managing a property for a whole year. I'd rather have a break-even point of no months, or 1 to 2 months, and then you're getting all your money back out and making a profit all the time. So if you look at that 7,635 cash flow, and you add those two up over the last year, that comes to £11,470 net profit per month, which is crazy. So once you get up to the stage where you hit sort of 10 houses, this is when you need to take on a property manager. So I took on a property manager, and he's commission based, so he only earns money if he's doing his job. So if he doesn't do his job, he doesn't earn money. So of that 11.5, he'll probably get £1,500 out of that. So he's still making £10,000 a month, but you don't have to take on a property manager. The reason I did it was because I'm away so much. I'm out of the UK more than I'm in the UK, hence why we only run 2 or 3 courses a year on rent to rent. So you know, that's really what I'll say on that. £11,500. We have a couple of other expenses. So I've got a bookkeeper that's £100 a month. I've got an accountant that's £100 a month. But you can see it's small change in comparison to the net profit. So there we go. If we go on to the next slide, Arsh. So hopefully that explained how I've done it all in total. And we'll just talk about the cost of refurbs now, because some of you will be sat there thinking, yeah, but how much have you spent on refurbishments? It's a lot of money. £23,000 is the approximate number, without having the figures in front of me, is what I've spent on the refurbishment. So you might think now, oh, I haven't got £23,000 to spend. Well, firstly, most people that buy an HMO, so this is just one house, not 18, they'll spend more than that on a deposit and refurb anyway. Okay, I was speaking to a friend of mine in London the other day, and he was really, you know, happy and everything that he's built up 6 HMOs, and he's making £5,000 cash flow a month from his 6 HMOs. But it took him 8 years to build that up, with you know, releasing deposits and buying more. And when he found out what I've done in the space of a year, he was shocked. He couldn't believe it. You know, so it's just crazy how fast this goes. So if you look at the total cost in refurb, £23,000, you've got to ask, where did that money come from? And it wasn't like a big pot that I had at the beginning. I had a small pot of money at the beginning. So I had my initial seed money, but the majority of that money came from the cash flow that was coming in. Think about it. If you had a couple £1,000 and you put it into a couple of houses, straight away, that couple of thousand's gone in. A lot of people do the math wrong. I saw it on another webinar, and the guy got it completely wrong on the math. Once that money's in, it's in. You don't go, right, I've got to wait 4 months now, or 2 months, or whatever it is to get the money back. No, the money's in. It's already in. You don't wait for it to come back. The money that's coming back now is profit straight away. Okay, because that's your investment in. So if you're making, let's say, £750 on a house, so you're getting £1,500. So after your first month, straight away you've got £1,500 to do another refurb. Okay, so you put that money into another refurb. You've now got 3 houses. That's another £750. You've now got £2,250. Okay, 3,000. You know, it keeps going up and up and up. So you'll reach a point where you're doing 2 refurbs a month, and you look at your balance and it hasn't even changed. That's the point you get to once you really get into this properly. And you know, I think we're doing 6 refurbs over the next 7 or 8 weeks, and we've paid out a lot. We've bought a lot of materials and stuff already, because I've got my own team now, and I haven't noticed a dent in the account balance at all, and that's crazy. You know, when you think about that, it's just hardly touched the balance, because there's so much money coming in all the time from each room. Because, you know, the first of the month is when most people pay their rent, but you have some people that move in on the 2nd, the 3rd, the 8th, the 12th, the 16th. Okay, that's the way you run the rooms. As soon as one person's moving out, you market that room. So at the end of that month, bang, you've got another tenant to move in. So you've always got money trickling in. Okay. And since I started the company, I've not really taken a huge amount out. I've started taking a few dividends out of it now, because there's so much money in the account. But At the beginning, I didn't really take anything out. The first 6 months or so, well, probably first 9 months, I didn't really take anything out. I just wanted to keep reinvesting it and build up all these houses. And once I had the houses, I wanted to improve them. I wanted to make them the best houses I possibly could in Coventry. And you'll see why now. In Coventry, if people want a room, straight away they think of our rooms. And the word of mouth has got around as well. We just have the best rooms. There's not really anyone that can compete with us now. And it's the same for our students. There's a reason they've all been so successful, because they set up the rooms and the houses exactly as we say, so that no one can compete. And it's not that they can't compete on price, because other people charge a lot lower, some 50% lower than my rooms. But if you think of it like a pyramid, everyone operates at the bottom of the pyramid in terms of price. They all want to do cheap rooms. I'm at the top end of the pyramid, so I do higher end rooms. I make a lot of profit from the rooms. And there's not really many people that compete up there. And the other thing I'll say is, it's human nature. We think, oh, people want things as cheap as possible and I better compete on price. But that's not true. Most people don't want to compete on price and things like that. I'm sorry, let me say it again. Most people that are customers don't go for the cheapest thing. You'll always get a percentage of people that want the best. You know, why isn't everybody driving just think of a car like a Fiesta, a Ford Fiesta or a Corsa or some? Why isn't everybody driving those cars? Why are some people driving Ferraris and Maseratis and some got other high-end cars like Mercedes and Audis? There's a reason for it. People always want the best they can afford. So if you can show people how they can afford better and that your service is exceptionally, the quality is so much better, people will pay for that quality. And that's how I've built my model. I've done exceptional quality, and I've showed the tenants why the price is what it is. And I always talk to them, and we make jokes about, oh, have you had this at another house? Oh yeah, my landlord at the moment, he's such a pain. Oh, the other tenants, some are students, some are workers, some are night shift workers. I say, yeah, everyone in my house are the same sort of people. We put professionals 9 to 5 together, we put students together in another, we put workers in another. Everything is just systemized and taken care of now. And that's why we've been so successful, and all the students have as well. So, Arsh, do you want to go on to the next slide? So talking a little bit more about that money that I talked about then. If you look at a typical rent-to-rent deal, let's say you spend a lot of money. I don't recommend you spend £2,000 because it's a lot of money, but worst case scenario, you have to put a couple thousand into a rent-to-rent deal. And you're only getting a very small return. After all costs deducted, you're only making £600 profit a month. So your annual profit is £7,200 net. So let's look at the math then. £7,200 is the profit you've made. Now you want to deduct your initial 2,000. So if you look at it, divide these 7,200 by your 2,000, that gives you a 360% return on investment in your first year. If you can show me an investment that will make you 360% in 1 year, I will invest with you, because that's crazy money. A lot of it, people will say, oh, invest 100,000, 200,000 in this and you'll make 20%, and people are going on it by the boatload. 20%, this is 360%. It's crazy. Next slide, Ash. So let's compare then that, let's look at it over a 3-year contract then, because the minimum you'll do any contract, and any landlord will want to do a contract, is 3 years. So that's a 1,000%. I mean, it sounds ridiculous now, so I won't go on about it. It's 1,000% return over 3 years on your investment. And you still control the asset until the landlord wants the property back. So you can hang on to the property for a decade, and the landlord might not want it back. Like some of the ones I've got, the landlords are so happy with the service over using a letting agent, they don't want it back. One landlord said, oh, just don't bother calling me unless it's an emergency. And I've had another one, he's moved to Spain, had another one that's moved somewhere else in Europe, I'm not sure where. I won't call them, they won't call me. It's just a perfect relationship. So if you compare that 1000% ROI to what most investors do, okay, so you think about all the investors out there who are doing it the old way, and they're buying properties 25,000 to 50,000 on average, so all that cash is now tied up in the property. They're getting 5 to 12% return on investment per year. Okay, so compare that 5 to 12% to 360% per year. Can you see now why this strategy is so powerful to get started in property? For me, I could buy properties all the time now if I wanted to, but what's the point? Why buy so many houses when I'm making this sort of money from them anyway? Yes, I can get the capital appreciation, but look what just happened in 2008 to 2013. We had a 5-year property crash. Okay, it affected me because I had houses as well. The crash affected me. It affected a lot of people. But why am I doing this strategy then? Why am I not buying a lot of houses? Well, it's obvious, because I'm getting this sort of a return from not owning. So if we go to the next slide. And here's what Nelson Rockefeller said. So if most of you have heard of the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and people like that, most financially savvy people in the world, the wealthiest families in the world. And this is what they say. The secret to success is to own nothing, but control everything. And that's powerful. And where's that more true than in rent to rent? You don't own the asset at all, so you don't have any risks associated with the asset, because you take insurance, which I teach you about, so you've got zero risk. But what you do is you control the asset and you make all the profit from it. I don't know a better business than that. Next slide. So I want to quickly talk to you about negotiations, because this is key. You see so many people that are doing deal sourcing, rent to rent, lease options, property, all the other things. And they're talking all the time, oh, I haven't made it yet. Oh, I've been doing it 2 years. I've got one deal. There's a reason why. And this is what no other trainer will tell you. And I'm going to be straight with you about it. The reason why all these people are unsuccessful is because they don't understand marketing. They don't understand negotiations. If you don't know these two things, don't even bother getting into property, because you're wasting your time. Property now is such a profitable industry that is dominated by people who really understand marketing and sales. Okay, so that's why when I first was getting into this and helping people, I knew there was something missing, but I couldn't figure out what it was. And when I was having a lot of one-on-one calls with people, it was obvious it was the sales and negotiation. So this is where we put something together for you as well. And I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but firstly, let's break this down. How many of you walk up the stairs and step on the first step, then jump to the 7th step, then back to the 3rd, then up to 6? Okay, you get the idea there. So why do people do this when they're in business situations or talking to landlords? A negotiation doesn't go like that, like walking up stairs, jumping up back and forth. It goes step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the system I developed as a sales trainer. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. Next slide. Okay, so most people that are in property will get 2 out of every 10 deals they go for, and that's at best. And I'm being conservative there and kind on those people. Most people will get 2 out of 10 at best. Some will get 1 in 20, and it is ridiculous. I'm not being rude when I say that, but it is ridiculous to put all that time and all that effort in to researching properties and finding out if it works and everything, and then not understanding how to negotiate properly. There's no point. You're just wasting your time after time. So if you go to the next slide, Arsh, this is why I brought my sales background and I've implemented it into this. So I noticed that everyone was running one-day courses on rent to rent, and I thought, a one-day course just doesn't make any sense. You can't get into the strategy properly in one day, because in the first day you can understand the basics on an advanced level, and that's the same with anything in life. You don't go from 0 to 100 miles per hour in one day. What you do is you get the basics, you build on it so it's really strong, and then you build on that to an advanced level, which is why we have the follow-up support group and the calls and the Skype and all of that. And also within, because a lot of people have been asking for mastermind days, we've added mastermind days, so it's very small groups and things like that. So it's just so powerful now. So here's what I want to sort of say to you all. Of the people that come on our rent-to-rent courses, around 25 to 40% already have 2 or 3 properties, or they've done another rent-to-rent course and not had the success. So why do they come on our course then? First of all, just like we did on this webinar, I show you exactly how I did it. Okay, so I'll show you exactly house by house how I did it, how I created it. We're also going to train you in the exact system on how you can go off and do it as well. So research, because it's different for every area. Okay, it's not going to be exactly the same as Coventry. You're going to have a different strategy. You might want a different tenant group, because here's the difference here. We don't just teach you one size fits all. We're going to teach you so that you can adopt to your own personality, your own strategy. Like Arsh said at the beginning, for me, I do professionals and workers, and now I've gone into students as well, because I've had to diversify because I ran out of tenants, basically. Now, Arsh just does LHA, which is your housing allowance, because it's all guaranteed rent. So we're both successful at this strategy, but yet we do completely different tenant groups. So there is no right and wrong, and this is the key, and this is why we've had success with the course, because we don't teach you one size fits all. What we teach you is the different groups and the different benefits, and then we show you how to target those groups and the properties and things, because without that you're going to be hit and miss, because you might go on a course and they might teach you about professionals and your area isn't a professional area, it might be a worker area or a student area. So that's the first point. This is the only course on the market. It's delivered by a sales trainer that trains other sales trainers around the world. So it isn't, you know, there isn't 1,000 people in the room. It's going to be one-on-one a lot of time with you and other people in the room, and you're going to actually, it's not done in big groups. It's you and one other person. You swap partners and you actually practice what I teach you, and it's all experiential learning, which is really the only way to learn properly, is experiential learning. And then lastly, we teach you director vendor strategies, not letting agent strategies, which almost never work. And I know I'm going to get loads of backlash from people and saying, oh, you're, you know, saying this about us and that, but I'm not being rude to anyone. I'm just being honest with you guys, because like I said at the beginning, that is my commitment. I don't want people to come on the trainings and not get anywhere. I don't want to, you know, I want you to come on the train and be really successful and make a business from this. Otherwise, there's no point, and I'm not living up to my commitment to you. So Ash, should we go on to the next slide? Okay, so this is the last course for the summer now, and then the next course will be in the winter. So we've got 2 days, as I said, because you need 2 days. The first day is your advanced training on rent to rent, and this is Saturday the 13th of June. So there's so many things we're going to cover. How to identify, which is key, and then dominate your goldmine area, because you don't want to be competing with lots of other people. When I went into Coventry, everyone said it was swamped. You'll never do well. There's too many people doing rent to rent. And now most of those people have quit. I've actually taken on a few houses from other rent-to-rent people, because the system is so powerful that it just dominates the area and no one can compete really. Next is how to get in front of a large amount of landlords, so sourcing methods, creating a high-end finish like I do with all the rooms that look like show homes on such a low budget, so we teach you that. And then the legals, you've got to know how to be legally compliant. You know, so many people get caught out. Me and Ash, daily, we're dealing with people, helping people who have done rent to rent incorrectly. I'm not going to say any more on it, but they've done it incorrectly. They've been caught out. They're getting sued. So we show them, okay, A, come on our course. B, let's get you out of this problem. And we've never had a single student get into trouble on our course. So that's one thing I'm proud of. Then I'm going to show you about calculating the numbers. So even if you're not good at math, I'm going to show you how to do it really simple using our spreadsheet. And I'm going to show you how I made the money so quickly. So that was, yeah, up to 11.5K now. So it's pretty powerful. Next slide, Ash. Ash, you there? Next slide.
Yeah.
Yeah. he was off for a cup of tea. Did you see that? Oh, go back one, Ash. There should be one on the um, okay, so this is the sales training. We'll just have to. So I think the slides got mixed up there, but the 14th of June is the Sunday, which is the sales training aspect. So that's sales and negotiations. So on the second day, we're going to teach you all about sales psychology and how people actually think, buying patterns, human behavioral psychology. So you'll learn all this. It's fascinating stuff. People love this. And then we're going to show you my 12-step sales system. So this is trademarked system. It's used by over 10,000 salespeople now around the world, and it works in any industry. We've taught it cosmetics industry, car salesmen, renewable energy, you name it, we've taught it, and it's used in every industry now. So I'm going to show you how you do it right through from sourcing, so an advert letter, through to the phone call, what to say, right through to getting to the house and doing a deal. And then the key one here, again, something that most people never cover, is the objections. We've got to teach you how to overcome the objections and the objections that are going to come up. Because if you don't know the objections and how to handle them, you're going to fall flat again and you'll be stuck, because you'll just keep coming up with objections. It might take you 10 deals before you figure them all out. So we'll teach you all of these so you can get started right away. You're going to do live interactions with each other. So I'm going to, again, we do little examples and you role play landlords, and it's just so fantastic. Next slide. So here's the rent-to-rent course. So we did 2 this year. January was the, actually these were both big ones. They both sold out 2 weeks before the start of the course. So we had 75 people in the room. That's all we can fit because of the fire regulations. Then we had 40 people live streaming online. So that was the rent-to-rent course. And actually Channel 4 filmed this course because they were following it. And you can see all the people in the picture there. So if we go to the next slide. So this is the bonus day that Arsh basically asked me to put together for everyone. So this is the negotiations course. If you were to come out here right now, where I'm on the West Coast in California, the people who come on this sales training are mainly sales directors and sales managers. They don't pay it themselves, their company pay. It's $3,500 a seat for a weekend. And what you're going to get is basically the same course, just condensed into one day. So you can see that it was so popular last time, we had to put 50 people online streaming. So if you don't want to be online, you want to actually be there in the room, then we'll tell you about how you can book on in a second. But this is the bonus day. You can see the size of it there. We had 2 screens and it was just such a huge event. Right, next slide, Ash. Okay, so Ash, I'll let you sort of run through the last bit then.
Okay, right, as Neil said, we can only actually fit a maximum of 75 people in the room. And people have been asking us for the best part of a year to actually get into the capital. So they want us to run courses in London. So we've listened. Previously, all of our courses have been in the Midlands, so they've either been in Wolverhampton or Birmingham. So we've decided that we're going to come into the capital, and just bear in mind that we don't run these courses regular. They are scheduled throughout the year, and the next one, which is the last one for this year, is going to be in winter 2015. So on day one, what we'll be doing, we'll be talking about how to source a landlord, how to find your goldmine area, how to figure out whether it's going to work financially in your location, and so much more. But on day 2, we're going to be talking about advanced negotiations, which a majority of it is going to be worked around the 12-step sales process, which Neil spoke about. So that will include 3 live negotiation sessions where you will be practicing what you've learned throughout the day. And more importantly, Neil doesn't know this yet, but we'll be doing 1 live negotiation on stage with Neil. So from someone picked out of the crowd, completely unbeknown to Neil, the attendee will act as the stubborn landlord, and Neil will have to work his way around that stubborn landlord and go through the whole negotiation process until he's got that deal. So he's going to be talking to you, and by the end of it, you should have figured out how to find the deals, how to approach the landlord, how to negotiate with the landlord, how to set the property up, how to let the property, how to make your money out of the property. So it really is A to Z guide of rent to rent. And here's some of the guys that have been on the course. And one thing to bear in mind is that the learning doesn't just stop on the course. We've also got a dedicated social media forum on Facebook, so that everyone that comes on the course will then get added into the forum, and then you can continuously keep learning. And here's some of the guys that are on the course. So Deborah, Ebony, Ben and Michael all been on the course, and they left us quite a nice testimonial. Now, Deborah absolutely smashed it. She was the lady that went off and I think got 32 properties within the first month of coming on the course.
36 rooms, I think it was.
Yeah, so I mean, she's done really well. I think she's even beat Neil's record.
Yeah, a few people actually beat me now. So,
and so the lady on the right, Susie Bates, some of you might know her for some of the leaflets that she produces. She came on the last course, and she's just signed a couple of houses, a couple of 6-bed houses. So she's doing really well, as well as so many others. And here's some of the guys that have been on the course. Now, when you compare when you go to some of the other courses, we don't like naming names, so we're just going to leave them completely anonymous. But most people charge a fortune just for one day. Now, the next course that we're holding is on the 13th and 14th of June, and it is at the park at Heathrow. So Heathrow in London, in the capital. And what we're going to be doing today is that we're going to be giving it you for $595 for 2 days, which is half the cost of the people of any of our competitors who only offer you the 1 day. Remember, you can't fit in all the information in on 1 day. You need 2 days at least to go through the information. But here's what we're going to do. And this is something completely special. Remember, we want to fill the room. We want to be a sellout. And we will be a sellout. So tonight we're doing something specially, and it is only for tonight. After tonight, the link gets removed. It's as simple as that. We're going to allow you to bring a second person, which hopefully is either a business partner or a marital partner, for absolutely free. So 2 people for the price of 1. So $595 for a whole weekend for 2 days for 2 people. That's unheard of. And it's on 13th and 14th of June in 2015. Alternatively, if you don't want to come on both days, what you can do is you can just come on either the Saturday or the Sunday at $395 per day. And again, we're going to allow you to bring another person for absolutely free. So it's either $395 per day or $595 for the weekend. Other things that we're going to be talking about on the course is the systemization, how to make a real business out of it, how to systemize it. So as soon as you get another property, you just throw it into the system and the system will look after it for you. So something as simple as furnishing the property. You don't need to go around, walking around IKEA trying to figure out what will work well. Because you've systemized it, you just go, yeah, aisle A, section number 1, etc., etc., and it's systemized for you. So you don't even have to do it. You can send one of your guys out to do it for you, and they can't get it wrong because it is systemized. Remember what I said, guys. Tonight it is a special webinar offer, and after tonight the link will be removed. And the best way of doing it is by going to the website, which is arshellahi.com. Look at the events tab. Look at the Neil Wood special weekend special, and on the far right hand side you'll see some tabs, one which will say whether you're just coming by yourself or whether you're bringing a partner for free. You can even book your hotel rooms off the website as well. So just to confirm, it's $595 for the weekend for 2 people. And one thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to give you another bonus. Now, this is something that I don't normally give out, but I've been letting property for a long time, And over that period as a landlord, I've created a lot of documents, which I now call the key documents to my success. So I've put them all on a USB, which is called the key to success, and it includes stuff like gas safety documents, guarantor documents, watertight and legally binding tenancy agreements, which you will all require if you're renting out by the room. If you're renting out to people on benefits, we'll put these spreadsheets on there, the sales spreadsheets, the schedules and rent schedules, the templates of gas safety documents, etc., etc. More importantly, by coming on the course, we give you all the agreements that you require, so that from the moment you leave the room, you have all the information to go out and do it. But that's not all, just for tonight. If you book for tonight and you pay for the course in the next, by the end of tonight, you also get a one-on-one session with Neil after the course. That alone is worth £300. And again, you get access to the Facebook group where we can answer your questions daily, and all the other guys in the group can also learn from your learnings as well. Again, the website is arshellahi.com/events/R2R. Now, on return investment, on 595, if you work on the basis that even if you create a HMO, a rent-to-rent, where it's producing, well, in theory, all you need is one deal, which will cover the cost of your course. So you'll get 100% return on your investment off your first deal. Where else can you do that? Just confirming the dates. It's the 13th and 14th of June for 2 days. And
Ash, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, I think we've lost Ash.
Neil, can you hear me?
Oh, got you, you're back. I thought I was going to have to jump in there.
No. So just confirming that it is for tonight, it's for 2 days. 2 days, and it is for 595. So here's what we're going to be covering on the training package. Neil, do you want to go through this?
Yeah, okay. So, so first of all, then you get your 4-day rent-to-rent training. So the next day you'll get 1-day sales training. Okay, so you're going to get that inclusive. So both days you'll get your management agreements, so all the legal documents and your tenancy agreements, everything else. They cost a lot of money to create all that. You get all that inclusive. So all legal documents, template letters to landlords, adverts to put into the, newspaper, wherever else you're going to advertise. You're going to get Arsh's USB documents with all of my documents in there as well. You're going to get your buffet meals each day, plus all your refreshments throughout each day as well. You'll be full by the time you leave with all the stuff you get. You're going to get membership to the secret Facebook group. You'll get a one-on-one call with me after the course, and then you get lifetime support as well, which is priceless. And then you'll also get discounted mastermind day tickets. So they run every 6 months. This year, probably only going to run one this year. So you get that as well. So it really is priceless for what you get. I mean, just looking at that tangibly, it's over £6,000 a person worth of stuff there. So that's what you're getting. You're getting there 10% of the cost, and you can bring a friend for free. It's it's really crazy, but that's that's why we want to do this for you and help you to get you going, so you can join everyone else that's already been successful at it.
Okay. I mean, what we're doing is that we've had a couple of people message us on the saying that if they can't pay full all in tonight, can they pay in payments? Well, we've got approximately 3 weeks to the course, so you could make 3 weekly payments of 199, but obviously you must pay for the course prior. You must pay for the course prior to attending the course. And here's a location. We are in London. So many people have asked us to attend London so that they can, because they find it hard to travel out of London. And it's at the Park in Radisson, in Heathrow. We've got where it's going to have spa facilities as well as luxurious rooms, and we've managed to negotiate a good discount on the rooms as well. All the prices are on the website.
Yeah, we're also going to have a meal as well, which, well, we don't usually have, we sort of mix it up. We'll either have drinks or something to eat on the Saturday night as well. So last time people were going right through to the early hours in the morning. I was long asleep by then, but it really is a full weekend event. And the other thing I'll say to you is that it is an intense event. Some people come and they just, they expect it to be a mess around and coffee breaks every 20 minutes and 2-hour lunch breaks. That isn't this course. So I just want to let everyone know, if you are thinking of coming on, that's not really what we welcome on the course. It is quite intense. We're running it because we want to help you to get financially successful. So we're not going to be high-fiving and jumping around and all that. It is an intense learning experience. So I just want to let you know, if you are coming to come with that mindset, is, you're here to learn, you're here to create financial freedom for whatever it is you want to do, health, family, escape the rat race. So it is a serious course.
Now, one thing that's a couple of people have just said actually is that, believe it or not, Neil, when we go south, people are asking us to come north. Said that. I'm all the way up in Cumbria. Is there any chance that you can do something closer to the north next time? Now, I'll tell you what you can do, John, is that if you can't make the course in person in London, well, we will be live streaming the course, as we've already got people logged on for the live streaming. What you can do, it's exactly the same as we've been watching it tonight, but you actually get to see exactly what's going on in the room. And we also record it as well, and it's you get the audio clip after the session, so you get to refer back to that later on. So you get all the documents which we send you via an email prior to the event, and you can actually listen in, ask questions as you've done tonight, and we actually completely do that from. Sorry, I'm just going through some questions. So you actually ask the questions as you have done tonight, and we answer them live there and then for you. You get to watch us go through the slides. You get to watch us interact as we're doing. Obviously, it's great if you could attend in person, but if you can't, this is the next best thing for you. Now, someone's just asked that the website terms not according to what you've just said. It's saying $395 for one, only for June the 13th. Right, here we go. Here we go, and just so that I can give you a live demonstration, and if I can remove myself away from here, just so that you're completely clear as to where you need to go. So it's arshellahi.com, and if I ever wow, how slow is my internet tonight? And here we go, it should take us up. Well, whilst we're waiting for this to load, Neil, do you want to see if we can answer a few of the questions?
Yeah, you get that going. I'll answer any questions that are coming up.
Okay.
Just want to read them out to you.
Now, we get asked this all the time, Neil, so this is pretty formula for us. Does this strategy work in London?
I love this question because it comes up all the time. What happens is a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't work in London. I did this rent-to-rent course and I tried it, it doesn't work. But we've had the opposite experience. Our most successful students have been in London, which, because it's funny the way the mind works. When I was told that by so many people, it doesn't work in London, I did this course, this trainer said that, this trainer said this, it doesn't work in London. I believed it. I didn't even think outside the box. It's funny how the mind works. And then we had some students that came on who were from London, and JC and Mena is the perfect example. $5,000 or something within the first 3 months they made.
That's believe it or not, Neil, they're actually coming on this month's course as well, because I've personally invited them, but because I think they're a great inspiration and a prime example to anyone who's in London who wants to ask the questions directly to a London delegate.
Yeah.
So,
You know, and those people as well, Ash, because a lot of people ask the questions as well to us saying, I've got no experience in property, I haven't got this, I haven't got that. Do you know what? They didn't have any experience either. Didn't have any experience at all. But yeah, I said to them what I'll say to all of you listening now. It doesn't matter if you don't have experience. It's about just applying yourself, having that commitment to yourself that you're going to do this and not quit. Because that's what happens. People don't fail in life, they quit. That's really the difference there. You can't ever fail until you actually quit. And a lot of people, they try something, oh, I tried it for a few weeks, it didn't work. A few weeks? That's crazy. Would you go to university for a few weeks and if you didn't get your degree, quit? No. You try it until it works for you. And that means sometimes you might need to come back on and ask for a call with me. And again, there's no charge if you want to call with me. You might need to call and say, Neil, I tried this, it didn't work. I'll say, right, okay, we know now what didn't work. Let's try this. So that's what you're doing. It's just constant and never-ending improvement until you get to the stage where everything is just, you know, mind-blowingly successful for you. And they're a perfect example, had no experience in property, from completely different backgrounds. He was can't remember what he did, fashion or modeling or something like that. She did an accounting type job, so they had no experience in property, and they went off, and in 3 months, 2 or 3 months, made £5 grand a month. You know, they, like Ash is saying, they're the poster people for the strategy. If they can do it, anybody can do it.
okay, right, okay. So, Neil, just so that you know, so for everyone that's online that is trying to book, all you do is you go to my website, arshellahi.com, go to the events, go down to the Neil Ward Weekend Special Offer, and you'll see it says Weekend Course Offer 595, and you add to cart. If you're bringing your business partner, you go down the page where it says bring your business partner for free, and you add to cart. Again, if you want to book hotel rooms, we've got double rooms for 110 or single rooms at £100. And it really is that simple. Now, for the guys that said that they can't make it, all you do is you go down to live stream R2R. And I'm hoping, yes, we have adjusted it. So it says 595 and you add to cart. And it really is that simple to book on. Now, hopefully we've answered any questions. Let's just quickly go back and see if there are any final questions. Okay, so Grish, hopefully we've just answered your question about how to book on for 595. Okay, so there's a couple of questions. Neil, do you want to answer this one about mortgage lenders?
Yeah, okay.
We always get this question about whether mortgage lenders are happy. What's your thoughts to
that? Mortgage lenders are never happy. If you went by the exact rules of every mortgage lender, I'd say about 50% of all houses in the UK would have to be given back to the lender. So every mortgage lender is different. You know, if you think about, say, places like Coventry, where the majority of houses there stock now are rented to students by the room. Okay, so if you think about that, they're rented by the room to students on separate ASTs. Now, if you think about what we're doing, what's the difference? There's no difference. We're a managing agent, just like a letting agent. We're renting by the room. And this is what I'd say, worst case scenario, because I've had it come up once now, where a mortgage lender wrote to landlord and said, you know, this is not in agreement with our terms and conditions. We require you to go on to a different product. And the product was £40 more a month. And I just said to landlord, don't worry about it, I'll pay the £40 more a month. I was making £700 on that. So it comes up a lot and it scares a lot of people off, but it's not anything to be scared of. It's mainly people on Facebook and social media that are trying to scare people by saying, oh, mortgage lenders and this and that. But I've never had any issues, and I hear it all the time, and it puts people off. But if I've not had any issues, and none of our students have had any issues, I think that pretty much says, you know, it's not a great deal to be worried about. Most mortgages anyway will allow for renting of property. It might just mean that you need an HMO mortgage, which is just one step up from a buy-to-let mortgage. But most of these student houses are on buy-to-let mortgages anyway. And again, when the landlord signs the agreement with you, it states clearly that they have permission from the mortgage lender to enter into this agreement. So I don't think any of them really ever go to their mortgage lender and ask anyway, but either way, you're covered and nothing bad will ever sort of really come back to you on it. So yeah.
Okay, brilliant. I think we've answered most of the questions.
Okay, great.
When are we likely to run the course again? Neil, have you got any rough indication of dates?
No, I don't think so at the minute. It's going to be winter time. But if anyone wants to secure their seat now, because we had about 20 people secure their seat in November for this course, didn't we? Oh, sorry, no, January for this course. So if you want to secure your seat now, Arsh, are you happy to do the buy one get one free seats now?
Yeah, that's a good call. Actually, what you can do is you can secure your seat tonight. And then in the special comments box, if you want to put that you can't attend this one, but you'd like to attend the next one, then we'll reserve your place. And then as soon as this event is over, we'll be informing you of the next date. We'd aim to try and get it done in either August or September.
What's that, Ash?
Our next rent course.
Yeah, it's not going to be August. I think we're probably talking September at the year. September to October. But we'll try for September if I can get to the UK for then to do it.
Right. I suppose on that note, guys, I'd like to thank you all very much for your time. Garish has just said she's booked on. Thank you, Neil and Arsh. Look forward to meeting you, Garish, as well as all the other guys that I've booked on this evening. It's been a pleasure. If there are any other questions, you're more than welcome to get in touch with either Neil, and there's all these contact details. You can find it on Facebook, Twitter, as well as Skype, or myself. And again, you've got our personal mobile numbers, which not many people give out. So if you think that's of interest, why not get in contact? And if you've got any further questions, we're more than happy to help as and where we can.
I think we've only got about 8 seats left now, actually, looking at all the people that have booked on tonight. So just let everyone know, because we always get it. People come back to us the next day or something, and can we do? Once the seats are gone, we're not trying to do anything here. It's fire regulations. There's nothing we can do about it. The room fits 75 people. We've got a great relationship with a hotel, and this is just the way it is. So if you are wanting to book on, at the very least, if you wanted to speak to your partner or whatever, just send Arsh an email tonight, because I'm over in California, so I'm not really available today. Send Arsh an email and just say, yes, I want to book on. I just need to speak to my partner, or whatever you need to do, but just get your place reserved. Otherwise, we can't hold the seat, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time, Neil.
Okay. Thanks.
Enjoy the rest of your day. I think you say you're going off to you're at Disneyland.
Yeah, I'm at Disneyland right now, actually. So I just went to the hotel, a bit quiet. So yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And then if there's any other questions, guys, you know where I am. You've got my contact details. You've got my email address at the bottom right-hand corner of the slides. And no doubt we look forward to seeing you very soon. Have a lovely evening. God bless. Take care, Neil. Bye-bye.
Thank you.